Hello everyone, Hector Mendoza again. Earlier today, I posted a video on weekly and bi-weekly timesheets that I created. I actually created for a person as a favor, and so I wanted to hurry up and get it up there. Now I got time to better explain how this thing works. So you'll see this sheet. Sometimes if when you open it, it might look like this, or it might look like this. Okay. And so what this is 366 days of timesheets. There are two different types. First of all, let me explain what this and this two boxes are. So you have a 1 and a 2. This one's here control your columns. Okay, so I broke it down into two different sections of columns. The one to the left is for people that work for a company that works past 12 p.m. Okay, well, 12 in the morning actually, and this one here is for people that just usually work one day at a time, like they work either Monday through Friday or even Monday through Sunday, but they don't carry on past 12 o'clock that night. So, so horizontally, you're going to have some dates, January 1st to January 2nd. And every year is going to change. But for this particular year, I have gone in and separated each, um, like for this one, it's in weeks. Okay. So January 3 to January 9 is a week. From the 10th to the 16th is another week. So you can collapse or you can expand this groups. So from here to here is one group, from here to here is a group. If you expand this January 1st through the 2nd, you're going to see on this one it only has two. And the reason that I had to group those two together was because uh, most people schedule work, they start on a Monday and end up on a Sunday. Equally, I have the same thing on the bi-weekly timesheet that you are also provided with that link, and you're going to see that link again on this video. So um, hopefully your company worked from Monday until Sunday, and if it don't, then you can still use this. It's just going to be a little weird using uh, these groups. Now you could go in and do your own group. So let's say some companies actually work Tuesday till Monday. I don't know why, but some people start their weekdays on Tuesday. It's been a long time since I've worked for a company like that, but I remember I had that issue with one of the companies I worked for. And at that point, you would have to either ignore and just keep this collapse or expand it all the time, and then you just have to go through data until you find the date that you want. And it does get cumbersome when you have a bunch of employees. You can also go and regroup everything. Okay. uh, so let's say that your day started on a Tuesday, then you would group the first from Tuesday until Monday, then you would group the next one Tuesday and to Monday and so forth. Now, um, I will show you how to do that. So first of all, what you would do is you would select everything. Okay. So you go right here, hit Control A, and you're going to have to hit Control A again so it selects everything. You see this thing right here under data, excuse me, formula. Yeah, it was under data. You see right here, ungroup. Remember, all this stuff has groups, right? You're going to ungroup, and I don't want to group the columns. What I want to do is ungroup the rows, okay? Because that's what's going to start you from one date to the next. So you hit rows and you hit OK. Now, if you look to the left, they're no longer grouped. So let's say your weekday starts on Tuesday. What you're going to have to do is go to the first Tuesday. You would go in and so what you're going to want to do here is create yourself um, a from start to end date, right? So we're going to create a new um, cell here, and I'm going to put equal this plus 6 days and hit enter. Now, so from Tuesday, June 4, 2020 till Monday, January 10th will make 1 week. Okay, and then so what you would do is you'd leave this alone, you'd click right here. So we're going to go to January 10, right? You go down until we go to January 10, and there it is, January 10. And what you're going to do is you're going to click all the way till this number right here, till actually what you want to do is click right here, okay? And then you would group it, okay? And then, so the ones you're grouping are rows, you hit okay. Now let's see how it worked. So we're gonna collapse that one. And you see, January 4 to January 10. Then the next one you're gonna do is January 11 until you're going to click here, you're going to hit equals this plus 6 days. Now your next grouping is going to go from January 11 all the way to January 17. So you click here, you go all the way to January 17, click here, and you're going to group it. We'll do one more, and then I'll move on to, you're going to hit OK, and then we're going to move on to some other stuff. So now you would go to collapse it. Okay, now you have 2 different groups. We'll do one more. So the next, so it's the 17th, 18th. Now the next one is going to go for equals this date plus 6 enter. So we're going to start group from here till January 24th. We'll go all the way to January 24th. Click here, group, hit OK, and collapse. Okay, so that's how you group. Okay, now you see we have a group for January 4th to the 10th, 11th to the 17th, 18th to the 24th. hopefully your work week starts from Monday to Sunday. Then you won't have to ungroup and group everything. So that's not going to affect anything on this worksheet. So that's one thing. So I'm going to close. I'm not going to save nothing. Okay. So uh, so let me open up this timesheet again. Now this one here, I have done a bunch of stuff too. So I taught y'all how to add different names from the original to create different uh, names for, so for those of you who haven't seen my first video, I'll go ahead and show you how that works. So yours is going to look like this because it's a brand new one and it only has one name. I want to collapse this. Okay, so this one here has Hector Mendoza. As I explained earlier, what I would do if I were y'all, I would double click here, call this master uh, file. Okay, so if I want to duplicate this, because let's say I got a new employee, and first of all, you don't want to mess with this first file because this is my original, and you don't want to mess it up. Um, if you right click under master file, you can move or copy, and you're gonna click here to create a copy. You hit OK. Now you have a new file. It's gonna name it number 2. Okay, so you can double click here. When you double click there, here, let me expand this real quick here. So each worksheet or each section has the name of that person. Okay, right now it's called master file 2. Let's say Elizabeth Mendoza was one of your new employees. You would duplicate that master file, and she would have, now she has a timesheet for the whole year. Now today is 5/9, and the good thing about this grouping, see, you don't have to go a lot to go to May 9. So we got March, April, May, 9. It's right here, right? So there's a lot of things you can do to get to a certain area. Like you could actually highlight this, okay? That way, when you start in down here, you can go straight to that. Another thing you could actually do for yourself, let's say that you're never going to have to come to look anything up from this date until that date. You can go ahead and group that by clicking here, going all the way to the top, and group it. So you're going to go to data, group, and then you can collapse this. So the first thing that shows up is May 9th, because that would be the date that she started, right? You don't have to stroll down all those months, okay? You know, uh, you could just go in and collapse that by going in here and clicking there. And now it starts from this date. So another way to do this, so let's say you want to expand everything and you do want those other dates prior to this date. If you click on 3, you'll get everything expanded. Okay. If you click on 2, you'll get, it will expand all the way to number 2, right? Now, if you click on 1, what'll happen is you see it goes straight to May 9, and you don't have to go and collapse number 2 and number 3. It goes straight to May 9, which would be the date that she got hired. Now, when you're looking at this data, you see right here, this is going to give you the total of, I'm going to expand this, it gives you the total of all those dates from this period, which would be May 9 to May 15. Each day it totals it here, and it will, and I have gone in and created a formula to convert it from hours and minutes into decimals, which we need to multiply for hours. So now Elizabeth started May the 9th. So today is May the 9th right here. You see, this is how you're going to be able to find May 9th. Now, if you try to do a search for May 9, you're not going to find it, because May 9 is not really a word. It's a formula. Okay? So, now starting date, this, you could do a search for those, but you're not going to find, like, if you do a search for Elizabeth Mendoza, you're not going to find Elizabeth. Oops. Okay? It just doesn't find it because it's not a name. Even though it says Elizabeth Mendoza, this is a formula. Okay? This formula is the name, and basically it's linked to this right here. So let me show you how that link works. You'll probably never have to mess with this because I've already worked out all the formulas for everybody. So if you click here, this is the formula for the link to this one name. But I just wanted to show you that you're not going to find Elizabeth, or you're not going to find January 1st, or you're not going to find Sunday, because these things are formulas. I just didn't want you to start saying, oh yeah, you know what, I want to find uh, uh, Bill. Well, you're not going to be able to do a search because everything that I created is based on formulas. I just wanted to make sure you understand that. Okay, now, as I talked about on my previous video, the way this thing works, two ways. From E, cell E to A, is you're going to use if you work for a company that works past midnight. Okay? If you don't work for a company that works past midnight, then the easiest one to use is this. And you, at that point, you can collapse this on every one of your employees because you're not going to use it. I wouldn't delete anything on disk files because they're all are linked to each other. That being said, there are ways um, to protect this sheet from you making a mistake. Now, Right now, if I went in here and clicked here, I could actually go in and start typing. When you do that, that could actually mess up. That could mess up the formulas. So there, it didn't do nothing. But if I went in and clicked here and just put Hector, it's going to mess up a bunch of things. So what I'm trying to explain is do not change anything on these things unless um, it has a yellow fill, because you don't know what you're going to do by changing any of these numbers. They're all intertwined to each other. Okay, just like for instance, if I go in here and type here, especially this one, you see all these values. Those values are based on dates. Now, so here, if you're going to put a date, I mean, if anything you put there, it has to be a date. 1/1/1, hit enter. Now that gives you January 1st, 2020. The only thing you can put here is change the date, but you would only want to do that. Let's say next year you like this timesheet and you duplicate it and create another one for the following year. Then you would change that date to, you would type, 1/1/23 for 2023, and it'll automatically update everything. See, January 2nd, 2023, all the way to 365 days. Okay, so we're going to Control Z, change it back to January 1st. Now, like I was trying to explain earlier, you don't want to mess with anything other than the yellow ones, right? So what you can do is click here, which is Protect Sheet, and you hit OK. Now, what that's going to do is going to prevent you from making mistakes. In other words, if I click here and I try to type anything, see, error. If I click here and I try to type, it's going to error. The only place it's going to allow you to change is in the areas that have yellow solid lines, blocks. So for instance here, I can put a starting time. Let's say she start at 8 space a.m. and she went to lunch at 12 space p.m. Okay, she worked 8 hours. Let's say she returned at 12 colon, oops, not semicolon, colon. She came back at 12:30. She took a 30-minute break, and then she got off at 4:30 p.m. It's always good to put AM or PM because that's how this thing's going to calculate properly. If you don't, you're going to make some mistakes. Now, let me show you something. So remember, we collapsed this one because we decided not to use the one on the left because I explained to y'all that that one is for companies that work past 12 o'clock midnight, right? And let me show you what would happen if you tried that. So let's say your boss told you, hey, I want you to go take a 4-hour break, but I want you to come back at 8 o'clock. I want you to work from 8 to 4 in the morning, an additional 8 hours. And then you can take a couple of days off, but you're going to get paid over time and a half. So you say, okay, no problem. So if I go in here and I click 8 p.m. until 4 a.m., see, you see this hashtags? That tells you there's an error there. That either this equation is not complete or there's a mistake. So I'm going to delete and hit delete. Speaking of deleting, one thing you don't want to do is click. So if you click here and you go home, it's not going to allow, fortunately, it won't allow you to use this kind of delete. Every once in a while, you're going to have to go into um, your, you're going to have to unprotect the sheet. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's say that I wanted to go back and use the column to the left, you know, the one that has the 24-hour thing. Look, if I try to expand my columns to get to the one on the left, watch what happens. It's not going to let you. Let's say I want to expand additional columns by clicking 3 or 2. It's not going to let me. If I try to change something here and type, it's not going to let me because it's protected. So if I want to go to my columns again, you're going to have to temporarily unprotect sheet, expand your columns, and then if you want, protect it. Now, once you get good at this, you won't have to protect it, but I'm just warning you, if you change a formula and you don't know formulas, then you're going to have a rude awakening and you could possibly spend hours trying to figure out what you did. Okay. Um, Even when I do this kind of stuff, I protect myself, even though I can find the problems when they arise. It's real easy for me to do it because I know Excel pretty good. So you expanded it, and like I said, I always protect it. Um, so now, so let's go ahead and duplicate this hours, right? So on this side, you have to look at the date. So it's January 1st, right? So you're going to type 1/1 space. You're going to hit 8 a.m., right? 8 space a.m. and you hit tab. And you're going to see a date and time. Now we have, it's still the same day. So we're going to hit 1/1 space 12 p.m. and hit tab. See, it took out the hashtags because it completed it was a good formula. So now we're going to go back 1/1 space 12:30. She came back at 12:30 p.m. Want to make sure you hit p.m. or a.m., whatever part of the date it is. And it's still the same day. So 1/1 space, she's leaving at 4:30 p.m. You hit enter. All of this sounds real difficult. Once you learn, it won't take you long to learn to type 8 a.m., 12:30 p.m., 12:23 p.m. It's gonna be real easy. So it's not as hard as this looks. It's gonna save you a lot of time. Now this is, remember we were having the problem here, right? Watch how easy this is here. So uh, your employer said he wants you to work from 8 p.m. to 4 in the morning. So it's still 1/1, the first day of January, and you're coming back at 8 space p.m. Okay, now here is where it's not really tricky. It's just that now it's the next day. So it's January /2. space, and you're getting out at 4 a.m. enter. Boom, 8 hours overtime. So you worked 16 hours basically on January the 1st. Remember, you're only going to use this if you're going to be working beyond an 8-hour period. So, you could actually, let's say that you have some employees that never going to work the second shift or the third shift, or if they did work the second shift, they never worked past 12 o'clock, then you could use this easy formula because there's a lot of stuff going on when you're dealing with these formulas. You see this right here? See, they're not easy formulas. This one here is a simple formula, but this one here is not a simple formula. So you have to protect those. Now, okay, so and remember, as you work, what's going to happen at the end of the work of that work period is going to give you a total. If you look to the left, you can see where it ends. Oh, actually, you know what? Because we did all this grouping and ungrouping, this formula here is not going to work because it was based on starting Monday. So this number is all mixed up. So I'm going to have to show you how to fix that problem now. Okay, so that's why I'm saying hopefully you're not going to have to do all of this if you were able to use my calculations from Monday until Sunday. And I have one from Monday until Sunday the following week. So it's a bi-weekly thing. So let me show you how to fix this problem we have now. The easiest, okay, first of all, there's nothing we can do right now because it's protected. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to unprotect this. Um, and so I'm going to collapse everything. Okay. Now, so the ones that we worked on, so starting May the 9th, right? So we're going to collapse this first one. And you see this number here? This number has a formula. And that formula actually that formula is looking good. So this one should total. So there's nothing wrong with this one here. Okay, and so this formula here, that one's okay. Oh yeah, because look, because it starts Monday, and that's how I had it set up before. So let's collapse. It's not going to let me collapse it because I had that selected. So let's collapse that one and let's go to the next one. So 22nd to 23rd. On the 23rd, I'm going to go all the way to the, yeah, you see, let's see where this formula stops and ends. So if I double click here, it starts at the beginning. Well, that formula is working okay too. So that should be totaling at the end. And let me see if it works. Uh, it, let me go in here and put um, 8. Oops, it's not gonna. Excuse me. 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. 9. So at the end, it should total, give me a total right there. Okay, I must have done something wrong, but see right here, there's an error here. So I'm gonna see where the error is. I'm gonna click here. Uh, this formula, I was playing around with it, and just now, and that's why I'm saying it's better to leave my formulas alone because you're going to have some problems. And look how easy it is for me to fix it. I'm going to delete it. Okay. I'm going to click here. I'm going to hit Control C. I know if I click here, it's going to turn into zeros if there's nothing going on the left hand side because I'm copying that formula, this one here, I'm going to copy it here by hitting Control V. You see how it turned into a 0? I didn't copy the 9, which is 9 hours. I copied the formula over down here. Now, if I go in and make a change to this down here, so let's say I work, this is May, so January, March, April, May, so 5/29, which is May 29, right? And I start at 8 a.m. Then I go to 5/29 and work until 5 p.m. See, it totaled it here and totaled it there. I must have done something um, to that formula somewhere. So what I'm trying to say is it's better to leave it the way it is. If you don't know Excel, and you do need to have something from Tuesday till Monday, you might want to get a hold of me and tell me, Hector, I need for you to create one for me. Now, after this video, I'm going to have one more video. This is part 2 of this thing, right? I'm going to have another one, and I'm going to show y'all how to create this. It's very lengthy to do it, but because of my I have these things that I use some commands and I'm organized. So what would take somebody probably 8 hours to do this, you're gonna see I can recreate this in less than 45 minutes, maybe even less. So watch my next video and you'll really like that one because I'm going to recreate this. I remember a year ago, something like this would probably take me a week to do. Then from a week, I went to about 3 days, from 3 days to 1 day. Now, uh, I did this while I was talking to my wife on the phone, so it's real simple. Okay, so we talked about protecting and unprotecting. We talked about expanding and collapsing these things here. And I showed you how to create new names or new files for new people, right? So now let me show you what you can do with a timesheet like this. So now I'm going to hit no. Okay, and I'm going to click here and close, don't save. Okay, so watch what you can do with this kind of stuff. If you went in and so let me open up this file. This one, not this one here. So I need one, this one right here. So I created a bunch of files for my training. Okay, so this thing has all these names, okay? And another thing I want to explain about opening and closing these files. You see how when I click on these things, they're coming up right to this, okay? It's because the last time I opened them, it was open. The Excel file looked like this when it was open. Now, you see this one right here? The last time I opened it, it was like this. So, however you close the document that day, that's what it's going to look like when you open it up the next day. The good thing about it is when you're keying in this data, let's say it was Friday, January the 2nd, you enter this data. Then when you come in the next day, you save it. You come in the next day, and it'll be easy to continue without collapsing and expanding your columns and your rows. So remember, depends on how you close the file and save it that last time is how it's going to look. And each worksheet is going to be independent of itself when we're talking about saving the window as is. Okay, so now, so let me show you what's cool about this thing that I created. Later on, what you're going to be able to do is, let's say that you have um, you create a file of all your employees. All I did was created uh, two of them because this kind of data does take a little bit of time. Not that much, but I didn't have an extra 45 minutes to complete everybody's name. So what I did was I got Howard Smith and John Johnson, and I could have put everybody's name here, and at any given time, let's pick January 24th. Let's say that I wanted to, um, let's say I wanted to see all the employees, how many hours that worked on that date. I would just follow this line until all the names are displayed. You would go to left and right, and you can see the progress on how everybody's working. Like this will give you the totals of the week as they move along, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna move this over to the right. I'm gonna move this one to the left. I'm gonna reduce it down a little bit, and let's pick um, let me see. Let's pick Howard. Okay, yeah. Okay, Howard Smith, right? For Howard Smith, we're gonna go. Let's say January 3rd to the 9th. So let's go to uh, Howard Smith, okay? And we decided to go, so I'm gonna highlight this so you can see what's going on. So watch this. I'm gonna highlight this. And you see right now, there's 49.5 hours for Howard Smith, and John Johnson has 51.50. If I go to Howard Smith on that date, January 3rd, so I'm going to highlight, and we're going to use the simple one, okay? So I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to expand this. So if I added some, let's say, if I add, let's say 4 hours. So from 8 a.m. See what happened here? This file, this is a different file. It knows I changed something here because I have this connected to this. So let's say I get off at 12 p.m. Look what happens on the right hand side. It updates this. So you can so there's a lot of things you can do with this. You can create graphs and uh, you know, keep inventory, keep figure out who's working. Why are some people only working 32 hours? Why are some people working 40 hours? Or uh, I'm not going to save this, and I'm not going to save this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, using the same uh, worksheet, I created another file. Okay, so let's collapse this, and uh, let me see which one I want to use. Here, give me 1 second. I want to. Okay, yeah, here we go. So let me flush that to the left. Get this one. And it. Whoops, not there. It went to one of my other monitors. Sorry about that. So let me flush it to the left. And now that I have those, watch what I can do with these two files. I can, okay, even though they're two files, I can kind of group them together, but that's another lesson. So watch this. I created a new file, and I want, I'm the owner, and I want to keep up with what people are doing. I want to see who is the highest paid person. So these are the wages, how much we pay each one, right? So this guy makes 1420. This guy makes 11. There's one guy that makes 45 because I told this to be maximum. Now, so let's say this guy's making 1750, and all of a sudden we didn't realize what kind of person we had, and I started paying him $50 an hour, and look what happens. You see this maximum change to 50 because that is my highest paid person in the company. So you can do a bunch of things, and the same way that I was manipulating that other document, I can manipulate other documents, and they're all intertwined with each other. Watch this. Uh, Hector Mendoza. Okay, so uh, Hector Mendoza worked 50 hours, 50.50 hours. So that's 50 and a half hours, right? So let's go to Hector Mendoza, and he worked that on January 3 to January 9. So I'm going to go to January 3 to January 9 because this is based on a week a week for a week for a document for all these people. Now, if I go in here and I change some data on this document, so let's go ahead and watch what happens on this other document. Okay, I want to say work 8 a.m. until, you see, look, you see how all these numbers change, and look what happened down here. because there's all kinds of formulas that I created to make this happen. So 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. it updated this document. It also, that other document that we were that I showed you earlier, it updated that document. So there's a lot of things you can do with this form that I created for y'all. Like I said, if it wasn't because I know Excel, I'm not an expert, but I do know it enough that I can create something like this real fast, but you can save hours and hours. And you, as a manager, you can sit in your office without getting into a calculator and look at these things. Matter of fact, this Excel file can be handled through one of your managers. You could be in your office, open it, he can have it open, and you can open it up. You can watch him make changes, and while in the same time, your employees are adding hours, clocking in, clocking out, and it's all connected to each other. So Excel is a very, very powerful tool, man. I love it. So, let's do one more, and John Johnson. So let's go to John Johnson, and so you can see how this works. So John Johnson, we got to make sure it has the same dates. This is January 8th. We're talking about January 3rd through the 8th. So this timesheet would work. So we're going to put 8 a.m. Look on the right hand side. You see all this errors is because we broke the link. It's not the same anymore. And let's put 5 p.m. and all of a sudden it linked to document, this document, and another document, the one I showed you earlier. Okay, so um, so now if I close this, okay, so watch what happens down here. If I close this and don't save changes, all those numbers change right here because I didn't save those changes because that was linked to each other. So with this same data, I created this thing called average. My average person that works for me makes $43 an hour. The excuse me, those are the hours. Okay, so the lowest wage person working for me is $8.44. This is just, nobody works for me, but I'm just saying you can do this. So if you go through all of these files, the smallest person making the lowest wage is $8.44. So if I change that $8.44, change it to $6 an hour, watch what's going to happen to my average. My minimum and my average are going to change. Watch, 6, you see, because I have it calculated. Um, so this was so the person that worked the most hours, he worked 60.5 hours. The person that worked the least amount of hours is 37.50, and the average hours that everybody worked for that week was 43.28, and the total amount of hours that everybody worked was 692.50. Equally, on the pay that I paid out on regular time was $2,000. The smallest amount of the individuals that I paid 247, and I paid an average of 799.41 hours at an average. The person made an average $799.41, and the total amount of money that I spent on regular was $12,790. Equally, on overtime, the highest paid person on overtime, he made 179.38. There was a lot of people that didn't work overtime, so that it has no value there, zero. The average overtime of everybody was 28.94 average, and then the total amount of overtime I had to pay was $463.10. And also, here's the maximum amount of net pay, the maximum amount of total pay, the smallest amount, the average, and the whole total amount of money. All of this stuff can be done with formulas. Now, I know there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot more you can do with these things. Like it only takes a second for me to click here and then go in and create a graph. And I use charts. I do a lot of different kinds of investments and stuff. And so you can go in and create different kinds of graphs. Okay. And you can see who's working, who's costing you money, who's not costing you money. So you can have this graph open all the time. And let's say that I changed somebody's wages. So this guy that's making 9, I'm going to put him at $90. Watch what happens to that graph. You see? All of a sudden, boom, that guy raised. Now he is the high wager. And so that's the guy I'm always going to be looking at. So Thomas, I got to make sure that he's happy. I got to make sure that Davis is happy. I got to make sure Lee's happy, because these guys are if they're making that kind of money, they better be making me money. Otherwise, they need to be on this other levels. So, like I said, man, this is a real cool program. And I hope you like this videos. Now, the next video on this series is gonna be, I'm gonna show you, I'm shaking because it's cold in here. My wife had it cold. I haven't turned down the air conditioner. Okay, so on this next video, I'm gonna show you how to create this thing. Okay, I'll go step by step. I'm telling you, this would take 2 days minimum, because you're going to see there's a lot of stuff tied in. We're going to do it in 45 minutes. I hope you watch my next video. If you liked my video, give me a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to me. And I can't wait to show you the next one. Actually, I'm going to take about a 10-minute break. Now I'm going to show you how to build this big old file. And you're going to freak out because it's real easy. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope to see you on the next one.